Just ahead on Chapman News, Stormy Daniels testifies in Donald Trump's hush money trial. We'll tell you about what she says about her alleged affair with the former president.
I'm Dan Batson here live at the Palestinian Pro encampment here at Chapman University. Coming up, I'll tell you what these students want from the university administration, as well as what's happening across campuses across the nation.
And on this National Foster Care Day, we'll tell you what one Orange County organization is doing to provide needed supplies for foster children, one suitcase at a time. That story plus your weather and sports coming up on Chapman News.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chapman News. I'm Gaurav Chintamniti.
And I'm Kate Robinson. We begin today with much anticipated testimony in the hush money trial of former President Trump. Former adult film star Stormy Daniels was on the witness stand in Manhattan today to describe a sexual encounter she says she had in 2006 with former President Trump. Prosecutors say Trump covered up a $130,000 payment that was made to keep Daniels quiet during the 2016 election. Daniels told jurors the encounter she had with Trump left her, quote, shaking and wanting to leave. Daniels also testified about how she met Trump. She says after a brief exchange on a golf course where they discussed the adult film industry, Trump invited her to dinner, and the interaction turned into a brief sexual encounter. Daniels testified for roughly 2 hours before the court broke for lunch. Outside the courtroom, Trump, who denies he had sex with Daniels, told reporters the payment was a legal expense and he did not cover it up.
You pay a lawyer expenses payments. We didn't put it down as construction costs, the purchase of sheetrock, the electrical cost. The legal expense that we paid was put down as legal expense.
As Daniels testified today, court observers say Trump shook his head repeatedly and whispered several times with his attorney.
TikTok filed a lawsuit against the United States government today, challenging a new law that would force the app's owner, ByteDance, to sell it. If the company does not sell it, it faces a potential ban of the app in the United States. The government says TikTok is a national security threat because of its ties to China. TikTok claims the potential ban is unconstitutional and violates the First Amendment. ByteDance has up to a year to find a non-Chinese buyer. As pro-Palestinian protests continue to cause controversy on college campuses around the country, President Biden gave his strongest condemnation yet about an increase in anti-Semitism.
We've seen a ferocious surge of anti-Semitism in America and around the world.
Biden spoke at a Holocaust remembrance event at the U.S. Capitol today. Back on college campuses, administered raiders at the University of Chicago allowed police to clear a pro-Palestinian encampment. Just a day after some faculty members voiced their support for the students and said attempts to remove the encampment would be a violation of the students' free speech. In New York, administrators at Columbia University decided yesterday to cancel the main commencement ceremony scheduled for next week. After that, campus has been rocked by weeks of protests and clashes with police. Elsewhere in the country, protests are still happening on several college campuses. At UC San Diego yesterday, police cleared a tent encampment and arrested over 40 student protesters. Colleges that are moving ahead with their scheduled graduation ceremonies include Northeastern, where protesters briefly interrupted commencement here in Southern California. However, UCLA has moved classes entirely online and closed campus after counter-protests attacked the student encampment there. Here at Chapman, students on both sides have been speaking out.
Our Dan Batson is live right in the middle of campus to tell us more. Good afternoon, Dan.
Thanks, Kate and Gaurav. It's been a couple weeks, but protests have been happening on Chapman's campus every single day. Now, behind me, you can see the Chapman encampment for pro-Palestine protesters from the Students in Justice for Palestine. Now, it's been here since last Thursday, but it was also on that Thursday when students supporting Israel brought their event called Meet the Heroes, which brought 3 controversial figures to campus. I spoke to members of both groups on that day to hear about their perspectives on the war in Gaza. Let's take a look. Students from Chapman University came together to create this encampment next to Memorial Hall, which houses the office of Chapman President Daniela Strupa. Chapman Students for Justice in Palestine chapter is demanding full transparency about the university's investments and divestment from any companies that support Israel. Students like Duran Aziz say the encampment is the only way to get attention to their cause.
Right now, SJP is running a divestment campaign. We're calling for the school to divest from weapons manufacturers such as Lockheed Martin and Boeing.
Last Thursday, as students and professors demonstrated in support of Palestine, nearby, members of Students Supporting Israel hosted an event called Meet the Heroes, which brought 3 former members of the Israel Defense Force to campus for a Q&A with a sold-out audience. Reporters were allowed to attend, but could not record video or audio. SSI leader Eli Schechter explained why Meet the Heroes was important for the Chapman community.
I mean, this means the world to our community. Right now, anti-Semitism everywhere, even on our campus, is skyrocketing. This event, having something for the Jewish community to go to, it means everything for students supporting Israel, for the Jews on campus, for API.
SJP members have launched an online petition drive and recently met with Chapman President Strupa, who they say would not agree with their divestment demands. Dean of Students Jerry Price says the encampment can remain as long as the protests remain peaceful.
Protests, marches, we have no calls to police, we've had no assaults. It's gone well, primarily because the students involved want it to go well. We also know what the red flags are, that things are taking a turn for the worse, and so we're not naive and we're watching out for those too.
SJP members did say the Chapman administration did agree that there needs to be more education about Palestine, but they say, quote, they're pushing for the creation of a director of Middle Eastern and North African life here on campus who would advocate for students on their behalf. I'm Dan Batson reporting live here from the pro-Palestinian encampment. Back to you, Kate and Garv.
Thanks, Dan. Member of UC Irvine Students for Justice in Palestine chapter have been meeting with the university's chancellor. The latest meeting was set to take place yesterday, and there has been no word on what happened during that meeting. The students' encampment protest continues, and they're demanding that UC Irvine divest from any interests that benefit Israel. UCI's commencement is still several weeks away, and the students say they will not stop their protests until their demands are met.
Now the latest on the war in Gaza. Israel has taken control of the southern Gaza city of Rafah, the most vital entry point for humanitarian aid coming into the region. Israeli tanks entered the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt, dimming hopes for a ceasefire. Hamas leaders say they accepted a ceasefire proposed by Egypt yesterday, yet Israel says the proposal did not meet its demands. Medical officials say 23 people were killed overnight after Israeli military aid strikes on Rafah. The Associated Press says 11 of which were women and children. UN officials say the closure of the Rafah crossing could cause a, quote, full-blown famine in Gaza. Israeli officials say they will continue negotiations and sent a delegation to Egypt.
Former Chapman University Law School Dean John Eastman is facing another restriction on his law license. Late last week, a Court of Appeals judge in Washington, D.C. temporarily suspended Eastman's license, and as a result, he cannot practice law in the District of Columbia. This comes after a similar decision from a California state court in March. At that time, a judge fined Eastman $10,000 for, quote, false and misleading statements. The judge last week denied Eastman's attempt to lift his California suspension, stating, quote, he fails to demonstrate that he no longer presents a threat to the public. Eastman is also facing charges in connection with attempts to change the presidential election results in 2 key battleground states in 2020.
We turn now to a heartbreaking local story, a murder case gone cold, and a family pleading for help in finding their son's killer. I had the opportunity to talk with members of the family. Take a look.
We just want justice for my son. He had a lot of goals and plans, and he never got to do it.
A mother desperate for answers.
Whomever killed my son, it's still out there, and they might harm someone else.
Francis Morga's 21-year-old son, Joshua Cervantes' life was taken in a hit-and-run accident on this Santa Ana street corner. It's now been a year, and the family still doesn't know who killed Josh. Police continue their investigation, but Morga says they don't seem to have made much progress.
They don't have any leads. They just know they got some video from from one of the residents around here. They said that it was
kind of a Ford Expedition vehicle. But other than that, we don't have any other news.
Now, the family is offering up to $30,000 to anyone who comes forward with information. Josh and his friend Amber Kahn left a party at a house on West St. Gertrude Place sometime in the early morning hours of April 2nd, 2023. A driver struck the friends while they were standing and talking on the corner. The driver fled the scene. Amber survived but spent several days in the hospital. Josh's mom, Frances, describes her son as kind-hearted and loyal to his friends. He was an artist and planned to move out of state to finish college.
I know that nothing will bring my son back, but at least I want him to have justice.
A spokesperson from the Santa Ana Police Department told me that a video detailing the crime and the investigation will soon be released on the department's YouTube channel and other social media platforms. Anyone with information is asked to call the number on your screen.
Coming up, toothbrushes, clothes, and blankets. Some basic necessities we may take for granted. But for one Orange County organization, they are a reminder to foster children that they are not alone.
I'm Tess Martinelli. When we come back, I'll tell you how multiple tornadoes and hail the size of baseballs are sweeping through the central United States. That plus our local OC forecast coming up.
Time to thank our seniors for all their hard work. Joshua Feinersch anchored sports for us this semester and has a real passion for sports broadcasting. He hopes to work in the industry as a play-by-play announcer. This is Tess Martinelli's second semester with Chapman News. She's done a number of standout stories and live in-studio segments. This summer, Tess will take her talents to the Big Apple, New York City, where she will be a reporting fellow at Business Insider, working on op-eds and human interest stories.
Senior Kevin Broer has become an essential asset to the Chapman News team during his 2 semesters, anchoring sports and writing breaking news stories. He hopes to start his career here in Southern California. And Allison Gonzalez has done a great job as both one of the newscast directors, and she reworked our social media so that we now have an active presence. She hopes to be a full-time social media manager in the future. More senior profiles coming up. Congratulations to the class of 2024.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Pa?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome back. Today is National Foster Care Day, celebrating families who provide care and bringing awareness to some of the struggles faced by those in the foster care system. One of those challenges is a lack of resources, but one local organization is working to fix that, one suitcase at a time. Chapman News reporter Luis Avila has the story.
In these dozens of suitcases, you'll find toothbrushes, clothes, and blankets, basic essentials for some, but for others, a reminder they aren't alone.
These cases are amazing. They're, number one, filled with love.
Set up in her garage, Debbie Thrailkill runs My Own, A Case for Kids, a volunteer-based organization dedicated to helping foster children in Orange County. According to the County Social Services Agency, there are over 3,000 children in foster care, and they often bring with them whatever belongings they can fit into a plastic trash bag, especially in emergency situations. Thrailkill says this motivated her to help.
I could not live with the fact that they carry around their belongings in a plastic trash bag, and I wanted to do something to change that.
And change she has made. With the help and support of volunteers, Mayon has been able to give away nearly 1,000 suitcases since it began, a little over a year ago. Thrill Kill says the children who received them tell her they could not be more grateful.
The response has been amazing. I get a lot of thank you cards from them, and they say things like, I've never received a gift before. I've never received a wrapped gift or more than one gift at once. And I needed everything, which that just really touches my heart.
And along with essential items, each donated suitcase comes with a message of hope.
It's a note that encourages them and says, you are amazing, you are special, and know that people love and care about you.
For more information and ways you can help, visit myOwnCaseOC.com. Luis Avila reporting for Chapman News.
Multiple women have taken Ozempic have reported unexpected pregnancies, despite their use of birth control or having a previous history of infertility. Ozempic is a prescription drug used to treat diabetes, but it has also become a popular weight loss supplement in recent years. Dr. Niloufar Fakarfar, who has prescribed Ozempic to many of her patients, says it may play an indirect role in promoting fertility.
If you're using it for type 2 diabetes or if you're using it for weight loss, this could help your own insulin work better, which in turn, right, can help with balancing out some of these hormones is what they're predicting. And so if it balances it out, it's giving you a better opportunity to get pregnant.
Doctors advise women to stop taking Ozempic for at least 2 months before attempting to get pregnant. Well, if you're tired of no parking stopping you from experiencing the shopping and fine dining of Old Town Orange, a new program might give you a lift. The city of Orange is planning a new microtransit service in the popular tourist area. The new program will let residents in nearby neighborhoods and visitors hitch a ride in all-electric vehicles that can carry up to 6 passengers. City officials hope that giving rides cuts down on the stress of parking in the area, stretching from the Metrolink station to health centers on Main Street. The program is scheduled to start in early 2025.
The Anaheim Police Department is turning to electric options to keep officers on the road. The department is taking part in a pilot program to purchase Teslas as patrol cars. The Orange County Register reports Anaheim police say they are facing a critical shortage of patrol cars, with aging cars breaking down frequently. According to the Register, the department has 83 vehicles, but only 69 are currently operational. Police officers will be trained on using the Teslas, which are specifically outfitted as patrol cars. Data will be collected during the pilot program, which the department says it will then use to decide if it will purchase more Teslas.
Another city in Orange County is requiring developers to build affordable homes to pay the city a fee. Voice of Orange reports Costa Mesa now requires developers who are building 50 or more homes to include a 10% for low-income buyers or 5% for very low-income families. Despite pressure from the state to address California's affordable housing crisis, many other Orange County cities have avoided similar mandates, with city leaders saying it would discourage developers from doing business in their cities. But Costa Mesa Council member Andrea Marr says it is the council's job to help the people who live in the community who work hard and yet cannot afford housing.
Part of the responsibility of government is to essentially provide for the least among us. And so the idea of affordable housing is not to solve the entire housing affordability crisis. It's not to solve the entirety of the housing crisis in Costa Mesa or in the state. The idea is just to provide some amount of housing, sort of last resort for people who really, really need it.
Costa Mesa will also establish a $2.5 million housing trust to afford affordable housing.
Irvine's 16,000 acres of green space helped land the OC City the 3rd spot on Travel and Leisure's 2024 Best Places to Live for Families list. And now that green space continues to grow. Irvine recently opened 10 miles of hikeable trails within the backcountry of the Irvine Ranch. Construction on a new pedestrian bridge crossing Interstate 5 has begun. The city is calling that a, quote, gateway to the mountains with a new 700-acre nature preserve. Planning is also underway for new trails near the Pacific coast. Protections for the California steelhead trout just got stricter as the famous game fish has been placed on the California endangered species list. 92% of streams in Orange and San Diego counties have extinct populations. A supervisor with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife says water management projects are to blame for the decrease in spawning habitat.
As we kind of continued in this development, we built a bunch of these big dams in the 1940s and 50s, all these water resource projects. This really removed a ton of habitat. So we were seeing kind of a decline in population.
According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, dams now block adult fish from over 90% of their historical spawning and rearing habitat. It is hoped that by placing the steelhead trout on the endangered species list, policymakers will take more action in rehabilitating damming projects and restoring trout spawning habitats.
Well, Kate, I don't know about you, but after graduation, I plan on traveling to the East Coast.
Well, you might have to be careful because I heard the weather is a little severe right now. Our Tess Martinelli can tell us more.
Thanks, Kate and Gaurav. And that's right. Today we are seeing a series of extreme weather patterns that started on Monday afternoon and will continue to sweep through the nation until midweek. Meteorologists say the storm has caused over 250 severe weather incidents, including strong winds, hail, and a total of 22 tornadoes. I mean, take a look at the damage from the Barnsdall, Oklahoma tornado, which left one person dead and several others injured. As you can see, roofs have collapsed and the storm is still surging. Meanwhile, flooding in Texas has rivers rising to Hurricane Harvey levels, and residents are being ordered to either evacuate their homes or stay indoors for several days. Meteorologists are predicting that Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky are at risk for tornadoes this afternoon. But moving on to our local forecast, we have a beautiful day, 73 and sunny in Orange. And going to our national forecast, keeping on the west coast, we have 65 and sunny in San Francisco, and up north in the Pacific Northwest, a little bit cooler, 57 and partly cloudy. And in Vegas and Phoenix, as Gavin would say, it's hot. And that heat is continuing all through the southern states of Houston and Miami. Now, in the Northeast and the Midwest, it's still hot, but the weather is a little bit more unpredictable. In Minneapolis, it's going to be 71 and cloudy. In Chicago, it's 74, and there is a storm brewing. Now in Washington, D.C., we're seeing 79 and raining, and in the Big Apple, 79 and sunny. Now going on to our OC forecast, on our inland cities, we're looking at anywhere from 72 to 74 degrees. And on our more coastal cities of Newport Beach, Laguna, and San Clemente, we're looking at anywhere from 67 to 69 degrees. So for our 5-day Fenestra forecast, we have sunny skies all week, which means that it is perfect for a day out with your friends and family, maybe a picnic, especially with graduation right around the corner, which is why I've come prepared with our graduation forecast. So for the 17th through the 19th, we have sunny skies anywhere from 75 to 77 degrees. And make sure you hit golden hour right before sunset. That's at 7:48 p.m. My name's Tess Martinelli, and that's all I have for your weather forecast. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Tess. I'm Kyle Carr, and we've got roasts, playoffs, and athlete of the week coming up next on Sports. Stay tuned.
And before we head to the break, this is our last newscast of the semester, and so we continue our recognition of our graduating seniors. Luis Avila has been a part of Chapman News for the last year and a half. You've seen him here in the anchor chair several times, and as weather anchor, he created our 5-day Fenestra forecast look. Luis will be working as a reporter for KESQ in Palm Springs after graduation.
Our very own Gavin Yuen has been in Chapman News for 4 semesters and served as an executive producer. He's also anchored, done weather, and produced several outstanding stories. Gavin, plus, plans on pursuing a career in local news and as a reporter. Alexandria Corniarts as well also served as an executive producer and has been a part of Chapman News for 4 semesters. After graduation, she will work as a reporter for KXLY in Spokane, Washington.
And my co-anchor today, Gaurav Chintamneedi, it's his first semester in Chapman News. He's done a great job jumping in and learning every aspect of the newscast. After graduation, he plans on working for Amazon in Washington, D.C. Congratulations to the class of 2024.
through your body. And you are calling the shots. Feel the power as you control the game's narrative. From commentator to camera virtuoso, replay wizard to unyielding director. There is no better experience than being in the moment. Challenge your limits and embrace the electrifying rush that comes with the crowd's roar. You never know the epic plays you will capture and the masterpiece you could make. You could be an amateur learning on the fly or a pro wanting to expand your skills. You will always fit in. And what better place to broadcast your skills than in sports? Never knowing what is coming next and always coming across something new. Join the Chapman Sports Broadcasting Network and experience the thrill of life.
There's a revived tradition being celebrated here in the city of Orange. The Orange May Parade marched to the Orange Circle this past weekend. The parade goes all the way back to the 1930s, but was stopped in the 1990s due to a lack of funding. It was started up again 5 years ago. The parade is a celebration of all things Orange County, and in keeping up with the popular May the 4th Be With You trend, this year also featured a Star Wars theme. Over 96 local groups were represented, including local politicians who threw ice cream to the crowd, high school marching bands, and vintage car clubs. Onlookers filled the circle as Star Wars music played overhead. A panel of judges, which included the city's mayor, awarded the Greater Orange Community Arts Theater with the best float design.
With graduation season quickly approaching, college seniors are gearing up to enter the job market. Chapman News reporter Tess Martinelli tells us many are feeling uneasy about their prospects. Here's her report.
Slow.
Frustrating.
Struggle. Fervently difficult, a one word? Yeah, difficult.
These are just some of the words that college seniors at Chapman University use to describe the current job hunting process. And they're not the only ones feeling this way. According to a College Pulse survey, less than half of graduating seniors feel confident about their post-grad job prospects. Despite their feelings of defeat, the chair of the Orange County Workforce, Annalisa Lukes, says that the job market in Orange County is actually in a good place.
In Orange County, we have found that just since last year alone, there has been about a 1.9% growth in non-farm employment, which equates to about 31,000 jobs.
Luke says that the job application process might be what's to blame for students who are struggling to find employment. College senior Missy Glover describes her application struggle.
It's been really hard. I've been applying to a lot of places, but it's been really hard even like getting interviews, hearing back from places, and it just feels like a lot of applying and putting in effort and I'm not seeing anything back out of it.
The feeling that Missy describes might be due to the use of AI in the recruitment process.
More specifically, perhaps using AI to filter applications and making sure that there's a match.
AI can help companies find employees, but it can make applicants feel less in control, meaning networking is more important than ever.
Leverage any opportunities and networks they might have access to, including the Chapman Career Center, certainly the Orange County Workforce Development Board, and see how, if at all, we might be able to assist them with the process. But don't give up.
This is Tess Martinelli reporting for Chapman News.
Members of Chapman's track and field team are reeling after their coach was fired last week for undisclosed reasons. Third-year head coach Neil Houlihan was let go on Thursday, and several members of Chapman's track and field teams have protested the decision, including covering Chapman logos at a meet over the weekend. Most are simply confused at the move. Though junior Sam Thompson says he's been aware that Chapman administrators had issues with Houlihan's unconventional nature. But there were just 3 meets left in the season. The move also shocked him.
I felt betrayed. I mean, I knew the athletic department, wasn't always the most fond of the way we operate and how much time we spend working on ourselves and on improving for the sake of the school. But, that was surprising because we had 3 weeks left, 3 more meets that were huge, the most important of the season.
When asked to comment, Chapman's Associate Athletic Director, Doug Aiken, said in an email, quote, "While I cannot discuss the particular circumstances here, I can assure you that we are fully committed to supporting them as they navigate the remainder of the season and beyond." Although coaches and players do move on, there are some that leave a lasting impact.
That's right, and there was a recognition of sports for one such player recently. Our own Kyle Carr is here now with that story and more sports. Kyle.
Thank you, Kate and Garv. Welcome to the best campus sports show. I'm Kyle Carr, and we're cooking with how much heat there was in the world of sports this week. Before we get into the heartbreakers and backbreakers of the various playoffs around the world, let's talk about some knee slappers. Netflix hosted the live roast of Tom Brady Sunday evening, led by Kevin Hart. Guests included former Patriots players Kim Kardashian, Dana White, and even Bill Belichick broke his stoic demeanor and cracked a few jokes at Tom's expense. Kevin Hart took the opportunity to cut a beef, quote-unquote, bigger than Kendrick and Drake, pressuring Bill, Tom, and Patriots owner Robert Kraft to take a shot together. The event ended with Brady claiming his status as not only the GOAT of football, but also the GOAT of roasts. Speaking of the GOAT of roasts, or should I say getting roasted, the NBA playoffs are continuing into the second round with without the Southern California teams, The Lakers put it all on the line in Game 5 against the Denver Nuggets, led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis. James had 30 points, and Davis led the team in rebounds with 15, 12 of which were in the defensive half. The effort would not be enough in a back-breaking finish as Jamal Murray lands a jumper with only 3.6 seconds left in the game. Denver is now down 2 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves. As for the Clippers, they took Dallas to a Game 6, but couldn't top the Mavericks. Although heading into the second half down by 2, the Mavericks surged to the lead quickly in the third quarter and never gave it up again. The Mavericks, led by Kyrie Irving's 30 points, walked away with a 114-101 final. They play Oklahoma City Thunder tonight at 6:30 Pacific. And in the NHL, the ice has finally broken for the second round after 2 series went to a full 7 games. Locally, the LA Kings lost out to the Edmonton Oilers 4-3 in Game 5, which eliminated them from the playoffs. And across the country, the Boston Bruins were on the brink of making history as the first team to lose a series after being up 3-1 in back-to-back years. They headed to Game 7 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The game required extra time to determine a winner, and David Pastrnak put the game to bed with a breakout pass from the former Anaheim Duck, Hampus Lindholm. The Maple Leafs haven't beaten the Bruins in playoffs since 1959. Boston played the Florida Panthers in Game 1 yesterday and beat the Florida Panthers 5-1. Meanwhile, in the Battle of the West, the reigning Stanley Cup champions Vegas Golden Knights were looking to keep their hopes going back-to-back alive against the Dallas Stars. Dallas broke a 1-1 tie early in the third, and Vegas couldn't get another one past goaltender Jake Ottinger. The Stars host the Colorado Avalanche tonight at 6:30 Pacific for Round 2, Game 1. And Chapman Track and Field finished its SCIAC Championship competition with some of the top performances in school history. The women's team finished second, just barely behind Redlands, and the men's team took third. Both teams ending their seasons with a new program best. The Panthers claimed 5 SCIAC titles and had 20 podium finishes. Kaylee Smith went home with 2 All-SCIAC medals. She is our Athlete of the Week. Smith, Kyra Steiner, Ali Kremer, and Ariana Raphael ran a school record of 46.81 to win the 4x100 meter relay. It was also Chapman's first ever SCIAC relay win. Smith also placed third in the 200 meter dash and second in the 400 meter. The broadcast journalism and documentary junior currently holds the record for the 4x4, 4x1, and 400 meter. Smith played lacrosse in high school and had to adjust to a new sport at Chapman.
I had never done track workouts before, and I think coming into college that kind of killed my body.
Sorry folks, having a couple of technical difficulties, but the Panthers have several athletes in position to earn an invite to the NCAA Division III Championships in a few weeks. The team will compete next in the CUI Last Chance meet in Irvine on Friday. And it's been an honor and a privilege to work and study alongside those like Kaylee Smith and the rest of the wonderful students here at Chapman. Although this is my last time with Chapman News, the memories and lessons I've learned here will never disappear. The final time on the Best Campus Sports Show, I'm Kyle Carr.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm Gavin Nguyen, and after the break, Good News with Gavin returns. You'll see how one OC City drew crowds this weekend in a first-of-its-kind event. Stay tuned.
As our final newscast of the semester nears its end, we would like to thank a few more of our seniors. This is Dan Batson's first semester in Chapman News, and he's done a great job in several roles, including news and sports anchor and live reporter. After graduation, Dan plans on helping his parents move to Santa Monica and begin working. Kyle Carr, our sports anchor today, has also made many great contributions to Chapman News, both in front of and behind the camera. He plans to pursue a career in sports broadcasting after graduation.
My wonderful co-anchor today, Kate Robinson, is in her first semester as Chapman News. She has produced some great stories and feature reports. After graduation, Kate will be a regional field director for a U.S. Senate campaign in Arizona. And senior Derek Rayner is one of our talented newscast directors. He's also produced several great stories for us. Derek will be attending graduate school at USC to study film and television.
We're Chapman News, and this is our newsroom.
Our team includes 15 multimedia journalists. We take on everyone.
From on camera in the studio to behind the camera in the control room.
We're storytellers dedicated to providing you with the news that matters most here in Orange County.
We are here to inform you.
Got a story we should cover? We would love to hear from you.
At the center of it all, this is Chapman News, and we are here for you.
Police say a security guard was shot and injured early this morning outside Drake's Toronto home. The security guard is in the hospital and said to be in a serious condition. Police say multiple suspects fled the scene and the motive for the shooting is unknown at this point. Drake has been involved in an intense online feud with fellow rapper Kendrick Lamar, but police told reporters today they don't know if the shooting is related to that.
In case you're unfamiliar with the Drake-Kendrick Lamar feud, Chapman News reporter Joshua Feinersch has the backstory now, along with a sampling of Chapman student opinions on the feud.
Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Look, I gotta be honest, right? I think musically wise, I think I got Drake winning that.
Drake or Kendrick Lamar? Easily Kendrick Lamar. Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick.
Kendrick 100%.
Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Two of rap's most influential figures going toe-to-toe. How did we get here? It started when Kendrick dissed Drake after Kendrick was featured on Future's song Like That back in late March. Ever since, there's been a constant back and forth with the two expressing their disdain for each other in multiple songs. Matthias Schweigerverdian told me about his initial reaction. Well, I remember when I first heard Like That, I was just listening to the album and I didn't expect Kendrick to be on it. And then when he started coming on, I was like, oh, let me hear what he's saying. And then he started saying, I was like, oh. I didn't think the rap beef would get to this point. There have been many legendary rap beefs in the past. Some of these include Biggie and Tupac, Jay-Z and Nas, and more recently, Drake and Meek Mill. But some fans say that Drake and Kendrick Lamar is the biggest. Francisco Cariglio says the diss tracks have been increasingly personal.
It's not more about I can do it better than you. It's more of I can dig up information on you and I can throw it back in your face.
As you can see, the student population has many differing opinions about who's winning this beef. Make sure to vote on our poll on Instagram at Chapman News for Drake or Kendrick Lamar for who you think is winning this battle. I've been Joshua Feinhersh reporting for Chapman News. Back to you at the desk.
Star Wars fans across the world are flocking to theaters in record numbers for the re-release of The Phantom Menace. The re-release on Saturday coincided with the annual Star Wars celebration that takes place every May 4th, as in May the 4th be with you. Disney re-released the Star Wars prequel in honor of its 25th anniversary. Phantom Menaces pulled in an estimated $14.5 million at the global box office this past weekend. As our semester wraps up, I can't wait to enjoy a bike ride and enjoy the outdoors.
Same here, and I heard our feature reporter Gavin Nguyen went to an event that was all about that. Gavin?
Thanks, Garv and Kate. Welcome back to Good News with Gavin, where we took a look at some good news, strange news, and everything in between. Over the weekend, the city of Irvine hosted its first Open Streets event, which closed a major street to cars and allowed pedestrians to take over. I was there. Let's take a look.
Barranca Parkway in Irvine, California usually looks like this, but over the weekend, it turned into this, with the usual cars and trucks replaced with everything from bikes and strollers to stages, booths, and even a helicopter.
We were so excited. One thing, it's very close to our place, so we walked here.
The event is called Cyclo Irvine, and it's the first time Irvine has hosted an open streets event where nearly 2 miles of Barranca Parkway, a major thoroughfare through the city, was closed to cars. Performers like these taiko drummers performed at stages set up at each end of the route. Event-goers showed off some unique forms of transport, and the city even provided a free pedicab service. And while May Gray ruled the day, it was clear to see emotions were anything but gloomy.
We left our bikes at home today, but we're just pushing our little girl around in the stroller, so yeah, it's been awesome.
City of Irvine Transit Administrator Mike Davis says the event invites residents to view the city from a different perspective.
For a lot of our folks, I think they normally get around in their car. Many of them may not have even walked the neighborhood. So to get out and walk it at that pace, you see things differently.
The main thing is how many people are participating and bought into alternatives to the car. Like, I like seeing scooter bikes, e-bikes.
Davis hopes this new perspective can help people embrace these alternate forms of transportation, especially with rising gas prices and climate change. With the success of this event, Davis and many attendees hope to see Cyclo Irvine return.
We would love to see more of these kind of events, definitely.
They find that it becomes a big community event where neighbors get together, and I think it builds a lot of cohesion for the community.
That was such a fun event that brought the community together, and I'm super glad it's made it to my hometown of Irvine. And if you were wondering, yes, I did have to sit inside that helicopter. I'm Gavin Nguyen, and I'm ending my Chapman News career the same way it started 4 semesters ago with Good News with Gavin. To the incredible people who I've had the pleasure of working with over the years, thank you. I'm so grateful that I've had this opportunity to tell the stories of our community and work with the future faces of this industry. And to Professor Lysak, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you for always guiding us to be the best we can be. On that note, for the final time, Kate and Gaurav, back to you.
All right, we're getting emotional, but as we wrap up our final newscast for this semester, we can't end it without taking the time to thank our amazing executive producers. Bella Leach has been a part of Chapman News for 2 semesters and is a great leader in the control room. She plans on continuing her job as a news associate at CBS and KCAL in the sports department. Sophia Costa has been one of our standout newscast directors for 3 semesters in Chapman News. She plans on continuing to work as an assistant director with her current employee, Free Realm. My apologies.
Imani Wright has been a part of Chapman News for 3 semesters, serving as executive producer for 2 of them. She does news, she does sports, she does it all. She will continue to produce social media content for the Los Angeles Clippers and freelance for Fresh Tape Media and the NBA. Kate Worsham has also been a part of Chapman News for 3 semesters, reporting on many stories, including those about her passion, which is Formula One. After graduation, she will be getting her master's in communication management at USC Annenberg. We wish everyone all the best in their post-grad endeavors. You have all left a big legacy here on Chapman News, and a big congratulations to all the seniors and the entire class of 2024.
And that's it for this edition of Chapman News, our last newscast for this semester. I'm Gaurav Chintamnidi. Be sure to keep following us on Instagram at Chapman News.
And I'm Kate Robinson. Thanks for watching. Chapman News will be back in September. Congratulations again, class of 2024.